Listen, buddy, I'm not going to be around when the Armenians take over the world.
Who the hell wants you?
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the podcast. This is Levon Muradian, and welcome to Lost in Hollywood. Well, this is episode 1. Hopefully, there'll be many more episodes to come. But I just wanted to start this podcast in regards to, I just wanted to talk about my experiences through the entertainment industry or the fashion industry. I'm a photographer, I'm a videographer, I am also a cinematographer. I've done a little bit of everything, to be honest with you. And people are always saying, you should definitely start a podcast to be able to talk about these things and just all different types of topics. One thing you got to know about me and what you're going to expect from the show, we're going to have different types of guests from all walks of life. From photographers to hopefully models as well. Well, most likely models as well. And a few of my friends who are not in that industry, just to give their perspective on different types of, life experiences and things of that nature. I've been doing this for almost 10 years. I started off going to film school here in Los Angeles. Now this film school doesn't even exist because they screwed all the kids out of, tuition and made them sign up to federal loans and other messed up things as well. And that school is the Art Institute of LA, California, or the Art Institute in general, which it was throughout the United States at the time. Not as much as before, but it was an interesting learning experience for sure. And it was a kind of, I'll be honest with you. I learned the basics of video editing and how to turn on a camera and just the basics. We went to that school and it was all messed up. It was actually really fucked up. They were using VHS cameras still, even though we were already in the digital age. I'm talking about in the early 2000s, most likely. And I graduated, yes. And to be honest, mostly everything that I ever learned about this industry, about the technical side of it, I learned it on set. It just so happens that during film school, I kind of linked up with a few friends. Well, at that time they were friends. Now they're more like acquaintances. And we were lucky enough to put together a crew of, run and gun style videographers, photographers, and quote unquote directors, or whatever you want to call us. We were no one, to be honest with you. We were nobody. And we just so happened to, work with some well-known artists. The first artist that we ever worked with, he used to be, I'm sure he's still a rapper. His name was 𝐂𝐎𝐿. And I was called on set by another guy. His name was Arthur. And pretty much I met up with a few of the people that I ended up working with for almost 3 years straight, from shooting behind the scenes videos to shooting cars cars for like high-end luxury vehicles for a brand out here that is very, very well known. I'm not going to name drop anybody on this podcast because that's not what this podcast is about. It's not about me airing out my grievances with people, but I'm sure it'll come out gradually or whatever, not in regards to this topic, but other things, because I'm very straightforward. I don't bullshit around. I don't fuck around. I'm very straightforward in that aspect. That's how I was raised. I was raised to be very straight in regards to, if you want to say something, say it. Don't be, pussyfooting around and just trying to play politics. Sometimes politics do come in play depending on the situation, but a lot of the time politics are a bitch, especially in this industry. And this industry is kind of really fucked up. Before we're like, oh my God, I want to be in the entertainment industry. I want to be a director. I want to be a videographer. I want to be a photographer. And then once you get into this business, you really see what it is, and it's not what you actually thought it was. And that's, it's kind of messed up. You would assume that, we understand it's a cutthroat business. It's a very cutthroat business where you will sacrifice a lot of your time, a lot of your own money, you'll never get anywhere. And then, just through networking, you'll get to different places. But you have to put in at least 2 to 3 years of pretty much free work. Lots of free work. And, there was days that I wanted to quit doing it. I was extremely passionate about it, but I stuck to it as much as I can because I actually cared about it. I wanted to create the art. See, a lot of people get it messed up. People think, you want to get into Hollywood and, a lot of people want to get into that type of business and to be famous or whatever, what have you. I just wanted to work to be famous. I didn't really care about being in front of the camera as much as everybody else does now, Everybody's all about, their selfish needs and all the things that people can do for them and things of that nature. Have I made it in this industry? Maybe an inch. You take this is how I look at it in this industry. You take 2 steps forward, but then again, sometimes you take 3 steps back, and that's the messed up. And then you always have to evolve in this industry. That's one thing that you have to do. You have to evolve with the things that are trending, not trending. I was lucky to be able to shoot very well-known people like, I'm not trying to be come here to name drop anyone, but Tyga, the rapper, Lil Wayne, who else? Chris Brown. And, I would spend a lot of my time, I would shoot it, obviously not by myself, with a crew, as a production crew, with my own camera. That's how we started. We had nothing. And I just wanted to thank my parents. They went out of their way to give me a loan that they told me, Armenia is just like a loan, but in reality, they never want to pay you back. They just want to help you out. That's one thing about Armenians. They're very family oriented, and they support your family will support you. And it was hard. So we shot all these people. After the shoot, I would go home and edit video from 1 a.m. to 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning just to have it done for the coming week, because it was gonna, we were so excited because we were so green. We didn't know we didn't know any better. We didn't know any better. We were just there, and then, gradually when you start making a name for yourself, not just you and the other people around you and your other, collaborators, they start forgetting about you, stop calling you because they no longer need you. And that, that could be hurtful, and it can make you resent this business. Even the people you think are your closest friends, your best friend, if he can get an inch on you, he's gonna take a mile. Let's just put it that way. They give you, you take an inch, you get a mile. And for a while, I was kind of lost in this business, hence lost in Hollywood. Back here, this is a video podcast as well. So if you go on the YouTube, which is Lost in Hollywood, you can find what I'm referring to. Behind me is some of my work that I wanted to put up, and this work inspires me. All these girls behind me, they inspired me to be able to create what I wanted. They trusted me. I was never that type of photographer just to take advantage of, a model or anything in that nature. You could go ask around town, ask any modeling agency, ask them who I am and what I'm about, and they'll tell you I'm a gentleman of all gentlemen, because I never needed I never needed to be able to, I don't know, take advantage of women to get my point across visually. Some people do, some artists still do. And a lot of them, they're banned. They're banned from Instagram and so many other modeling agencies and other magazines as well. But they inspired me to create. They say you create the thing that you fear the most. I don't fear women. It was just always hard to talk to them, in my own personal life. So almost this could be my own writings, but visually. And I'm very proud of the work that I've done. And as time had gone by, I still love doing it, but the passion of doing this work kind of died gradually, because, you feel like you're moving forward, but you never get anywhere sometimes. I mentioned that I mentioned that a little while ago, and as I said, you'll do a lot of test shoots, a lot of free shoots, just because the model is kind of well known or whatever, and it's still fun. Here I do it here and there, but now I'm in more of a different mindset. I'm going to be getting married soon, and I have to think about another person, not just me. Before I would be very, very much more selfish as a person. But when you start, caring about someone else besides you, I'm not talking about your family. I'm talking about more like a significant other, someone you're going to marry. It could be a man, a woman, whatever, whatever your preference is, but that will change your thought process very quickly, because, you don't want to let people down. You know what? You don't want to let yourself down. And that's why I always, I kind of took the jobs that you really don't want to do as much, because you think you can't be as creative doing it. But believe me, you can. And it's been very, very hard transitioning from fashion, creative, art related photography, more editorial, to more commercial stuff, which is a little bit more, for it to be commercial and more corporate, it's a little bit harder. It's not harder. It's actually much easier, but it's just like, how you're so used to doing something a certain way, and it changes. That's what it is. The transition from point A to point B was much tougher than I really thought. But now I've kind of figured out the groove on that end. But this podcast is definitely not about me just talking about my work. I wanted to talk about so many different things, and which we will. And first things first, I wanted to talk about what the hell's going on in this world. I want to say what the fuck, because what the fuck is going on in this world, man? Whatever happened to be just people are so sensitive nowadays in regards to when you're blunt and you're honest, and because everybody's been coddled so much nowadays, the new generation that's coming up. And if you say one thing, they get all sensitive, and they think that you are, harassing them, or you're doing. No, I'm not. Nobody's fucking harassing you in any which way. Believe me, nobody's harassing you. It's just, you gotta get through the tough times. Not everything, everybody tells you is not gonna be sunshine and fucking rainbows. You gotta have tough skin. Especially in Los Angeles. Los Angeles used to be a place where you had to have tough skin, and now if you say one thing to someone, they'll cancel you. You're canceled. Everyone is canceled nowadays. Make sure you cancel everybody. Even though it could be a joke, it could be because people are so fucking sensitive nowadays. It's crazy. Now, and when you say you want to be in the, I'm in the entertainment industry, or I work in Hollywood, or something in that genre, you kind of you get fucking embarrassed by even saying that now, because they're like, oh, Hollywood. Because Hollywood is fucked up, and it's weird, and it's, the politics that, play in Hollywood are not great. You have to really go out of your way to be, fake woke. Oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, you actually, people don't care. They just act like they care about certain topics. So they just, so they can, get ahead. And that's all it is. That's all I want. That's all people want to do here in Los Angeles. They want to get ahead. Listen, surviving in Los Angeles is hard because everything is fucking expensive. Even the housing market here is crazy. The interest rates went down, yes, but the housing market shitholes are going for almost $1 million. Shitholes, places that you wouldn't even look twice. But what? Oh, we could buy it and make it, flip this house or whatever the fuck. How are you gonna flip this motherfucker? This motherfucker needs to be demolished, pretty much. And then you're going to spend another $400,000 or $500,000 on that fucking house to, it's just weird, man. It's just weird. People have gotten weirder. And, now with social media out everywhere, everybody wants to take a fucking picture somewhere. Everybody wants to take pictures of their fucking food. And everybody wants to go to the places like Catch LA. Catch LA is disgusting. It's disgusting. Why? You want to go hit that little fucking moose cake with that says catch you late, or fucking hit me or whatever the fuck, just because Bella Hadid or some dumb other fucking girl decided to do that? No, that's not it. I would rather go to, like, you know, a taco truck, a roach coach, a fucking burger joint, whatever. I mean, I believe me, I love a really nice restaurant where the food is fire. But I'm not going to go somewhere just because it's hyped up on Instagram or on social media or what have you. And it's a fucking joke. A lot of the time it's a joke. And I don't know. Let me just get a hang of doing these podcasts, guys. I hope, you know, whoever's listening out there, I really appreciate that you're here and you're, you know, engaged with me here. I'm going to try to, you know, really open up here with you guys so you can really understand where I'm coming from. And I'm sure a lot of what I think, you think as well. But going from there, look, man, look what's happening here. Look what's happening here in the United States of America. Let's start there, and we're going to move down to Armenia, my motherland, where, well, let's start off with the United States of America. So we have a president-elect, Joe Biden, which makes no sense. So you are elected by the media to be our president of the United States. Very interesting. Technically, you know, I don't want to talk about politics that deep just yet, but I've never seen any president say office of the president elect or what have you. It's very, very weird. And how our country is divided, it's sad. And technically, the president of the United States is still Donald J. Trump. He's an interesting character for sure, but I don't know what's happening. The election is not done. And let's see what happens by January the 20th. Should be interesting for sure. This is pretty much a reality show, and people around the world are just looking at us and just shaking their heads and like, what the hell happened to the United States of America? This is embarrassing, and this is extremely sad. So I wanted to go from there to Armenia. Armenia for over 30 days was in a war with Azerbaijan, which is a neighboring country. Not really neighborly people. They're full of brainwashed people who don't know any better. So we were in a war with them. They were claiming old lands that are on Armenian. Azerbaijan is trying to claim that the land that Armenia, Karabakh, which is Artsakh, that's what Armenians call Nagorno-Karabakh anyway. They say that these lands are theirs, and mind you, these lands go back over 1800, past that BC. And how is that possible when Azerbaijan was founded in 1918? So we got into war, and the prime minister of Armenia, not to lose any more of, you know, the military that we do have, signed a peace agreement with them, with Russia and Turkey. Well, we'll get more into that. Turkey is a very interesting character for the Armenians because they've always been one country, or one, whatever you want to call them. They're our arch enemies, and we have a right to be arch enemies with them. If you've ever heard of the Armenian genocide of 1915, where 1.5 million, maybe even more, Armenians were slaughtered, murdered, raped, and made slaves. They perpetrated that first. And now Azerbaijan, who is obviously allies with Turkey, are trying to, take lands that belong to us, whatever little land we have left, even though Turkey took a lot more of our land as time has gone by. And it's very, very sad what's happening. Our prime minister signed it, as I said, our prime minister of Armenia, Nikol Pashinyan, he signed a peace treaty with them, and also gave up a few parts of Karabakh or Artsakh to Azerbaijan just to save about 25,000 soldiers' lives because we were undermanned, I should say. And how are you going to beat somebody who is being backed by someone like Turkey? If it was just Azerbaijan, we might have had a chance, but it just really it hurts me. It hurts a lot to see people losing their homes and Armenia just losing lands in that way. Apparently, Russian peacemakers are going to parts of Artsakh where Armenia lost the battle in certain cities and little villages and stuff of that nature. And it's that peace treaty, or the peace treaty is only good for 5 years. Hopefully we can settle or figure out how to build our military to be able to defend ourselves, because nobody's coming for our aid. Obviously, nobody's going to come for your aid if you have nothing to offer them. If you have gold, gas, oil, I don't know, even a dock to do import, export, they might help you out. But nobody's coming to help. So guess what you have to do? You have to help yourself. But another problem with that is the Armenian culture, most people, well, all of us are extremely hurt that we had to lose these lands. And people were very, very hurt that Nikol Pashinyan agreed to this, because Armenians would rather die than lose even more of their own land. Not only just the land, it feels like, it's like ethnic cleansing. They're trying to get rid of us gradually, slowly. I mean, in 1915, they tried to get rid of us. They couldn't. And we just need to, support each other. Armenians need to support each other, because we're survivors, man. We have will. We have willpower. We came to a different country. My parents came to a different country. I mean, separately, but with their own families, they came and established a way to take care of their families and, have a livelihood here. This is a country that was, not familiar with them. It's a country that they're not familiar with, and it's very, very hard to not familiarize. This is a country that, they had to come and familiarize themselves with, because, you have so many different ethnicities here, and it's a melting pot of so many races and cultures and food and what have you. And when you come from Armenia, Armenia is like a closed off society. Everybody, majority of the people, kind of in some which way know each other. It's called like the 6 degrees of separation. And coming here and, making it that way, that takes a lot of will and a lot of tenacity and hustle, pretty much. Armenians are hustlers, especially, they're going to try to find a way to take care of their family no matter what. And I respect that very much so. But life is very interesting for Armenia right now, because they want the Prime Minister, Nikol Pashinyan, to resign. Because they're like, how could you? How could you come to an agreement with these, sorry to say, this video is not made, I'm going to say this, assholes, pieces of garbage like Azerbaijan, who the leader, Aliyev, is a moron, a dictator, an oligarch. And we had our own oligarchs that we got rid of a few years ago when Armenia had the Velvet Revolution, to stop corruption and to stop money laundering. And that's why today, 30 years later, from the first war with Azerbaijan, we won originally. And now they came 30 years later to take lands back, quote unquote, which is theirs, which is not. And if somebody actually opens up a history book, many history books, you know what the number one history book is in the world? Google. If you go Google it. But, he claims that this is propaganda, even though this man is from head to toe propaganda from himself, his wife, his entire family, and he has his entire country fooled. He started this war to save face, because they were getting, his own people were getting restless with him. And it's very heartbreaking that it had to come to this, because Armenia is stuck. Armenia is stuck with a bunch of scumbags. You have Turkey, Azerbaijan, Iran, and even Russia. Russia is a very interesting place. It's neo-communism that they practice, kind of in the vein of the Communist Chinese Party, the CCP, but they don't come out and say it that way. And they want Nikol Pashinyan to resign, and they're protesting. Half of them are with him, half of them are not with him. I think the man did the right thing, even though it's very hurtful to lose whatever little bit of land you have. That, Armenia is one of the oldest countries that still exist. Our lineage goes back over 2,000 years ago. So he's getting, a lot of protesters in Armenia trying to have him resign. And the people who want him to resign are the corrupt, the money-hungry oligarch regime type people who, would like it to be like the good old days. But because of the good old days, over, 30 years of corruption and money laundering, stealing, and keeping your people low, and you couldn't be able to, build your own military. You can't build your new tech. They're using weapons in the 1980s. How are you going to defend yourself with weapons from 1980s where Azerbaijan has new technology? They have drones flying in the air. They just spot somebody, they hit a little button, boom, it's all over for them. So this is a war that we would not have been able to win in any which way. We tried, but half of the people in Armenia, the men, they hid. They didn't want to go to war, and the brave men and women who went to war to defend their homeland, you have my utmost respect. And if I ever see you anywhere, I will always give you a hug, or I will shake your hand, because that's very, very hard to do. And to all the cowards who hid and only came out when they heard Armenia was signing a peace treaty and they're going to give up a few parts of their land, and they came out and protested and rioted in the streets of Armenia, you should be embarrassed. You should be embarrassed to call yourself Armenian. You should be embarrassed to call yourself a man. And don't turn around and tell me, oh, well, you should have went to Armenia and, you should have fought in the war. How am I going to do that, man? How am I going to do? The few men that went there and try to help, a lot of the time they were sent away. It's like, we don't need your help. We don't need this. And millions of dollars was collected from the Armenians here, because the diaspora is around the world. Every week we were, sending millions and millions of dollars of aid to them for, people who need clothes, food, taking care, toys, whatever they need. Armenia was trying to help, and we're still trying to, the Armenians were trying to help, and it's very, very sad. And what I would like to do is I wanted to thank all of you for listening to the first episode of Lost in Hollywood with me, Levon Muradian. Stay tuned. You can find this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. Make sure to hit the like and subscribe button on everything, and follow us everywhere, and on Instagram at Lost in Hollywood. I'm Levon Muradian. You can find me on Instagram as well. Thank you for listening, and thank you for being with me.
Listen, buddy, I'm not going to be around when the Armenians take over the world.
Who the hell wants you?